everyone. I'm Dr. Zelda Okia. I am a forensic pathologist and a life and weight loss coach. And I wanted to talk more about the sweetness in our lives, the sweetness of our lives, and what this sweetness is. Because I've been presenting about artificial sweeteners and giving you alternatives about how you can develop or increase your own natural sweetness of your life. And what I've discovered is that emotions or feelings are the sweetness in our lives. And the reason why we go after things, the reason why we want an experience is because of the way it will, or we think it will, make us feel. And if you remember the thought model, I talk about the thought model or the self-coaching model. You have a circumstance. So circumstances are things out in the world that happen to us. They're beyond our control. Or we might create a circumstance for ourselves, but we can't change them in the moment. So we have a circumstance, and then we have a thought about the circumstance. And then the thought is what creates the feeling. So some people say, well, so-and-so did this, and that made me angry, or somebody did that, the other thing, and this made me angry. But it's not the circumstance that causes the feeling or creates the feeling. It's our thoughts about the circumstance. But the reason why our feelings or emotions are so important is because they are powerful. Our emotions are what drive our actions. And the actions, we all know our actions. It's the law of sowing and reaping. Our actions create the results that we get in our lives. So it's the emotions that drive those actions. And that's why emotions are the sweetness. Because emotions, there's two sides, okay, right? So positive emotions, positive thoughts generate actions that lead to positive results. But negative emotions lead to negative actions, which then create negative results, things in our lives that we may not want. So it's important to get control over our emotions. And I want to give you an example. So there was a time when I was in medical school and I was seeing this guy and he broke up with me. And of course it was towards the end of the school year and I had exams coming up. So the time wasn't right to handle or deal with those negative emotions. So I put it to the side for a while. I tabled it. And I created the thought in my mind that we hadn't broken up. I still had those good feelings. Everything was fine. And those good feelings enabled me to continue to study. I finished my exams. I passed. Obviously, I passed. I'm a doctor, right? But I passed the exams. And then after the exams were over, then I dealt with those emotions. And so sometimes the emotions are not necessarily convenient, but I knew how to control my emotions so that they didn't derail me and prevent me from moving forward. But the power of that also is that we can generate emotions. We can generate those emotions that we need when we want to take certain actions. So in the couple of videos I did back, I was talking about movement and dance and how it makes me and probably other people, it makes us feel good. And it was interesting because just this past week, one day, I forget which day it was, but I stayed up too late at night. And the next morning, I didn't want to get up. I woke up and I was tired, and I'm like, ugh, I just don't feel like getting out of bed today. And I was running. I did end up, getting up later than I normally would have. So I did have to change my morning routine because I got up late. But the interesting thing is that as I laid in bed, I started to just move my hand. Right, I got my hand in here. So my left hand. And I just looked at my hand moving. I was doing like little circles of my hand. And I started to smile and I started to laugh. And all of a sudden I got out of bed. And I thought, wow. So, because I've been talking about how I do movement in the morning, maybe just 5-10 minutes. I just move my body. Sometimes it's dance. Sometimes I have a song in my head and I'm just shaking to the rhythm, to the groove. Or sometimes it's just a slow movement where I ask my body, how do you want to move? But the amazing thing is that just doing that motion, just with my hand, I got into that sensation of the movement. And when I move my body, I feel good. And then I'm able to do my journaling for the day, and it helps clear my mind. So it's like my body, the movement of my body is a distraction maybe from the thought, because initially I had the thought, I don't want to get up today, and I was feeling a little bad, I'm like, why do I have to go to work today? But then when I moved my body, it was like my brain was directed towards my hand movement, and it was like the movement of my hand released those good feelings, those endorphins, those neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, and I started to feel good. So sometimes just our body movements can redirect our minds and our thoughts and our focus. So that's why it's so important to be in tune with our bodies, but to be in tune with our emotions and realize that we can control our emotions. We can get a hold of our emotions, allow our emotions to realize they're not going to break us. We're not going to turn into a pumpkin just because we might be feeling strong emotion, maybe a powerful emotion, but it's normal. But then that we can actually harness the power and the energy of our emotions to move us into the actions that will take us to the result that we ultimately desire. So that's what I want to leave you with today, is just embrace your emotions, because they are the sweetness of your life. So if you want to talk more, I'm always available. I would love to talk to you. Leave your comments down below, and then you can always contact me. Through Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, and of course my website, www.zeldaokia.com. Thank you for listening, and have a gloriously beautiful, sweet day today. Bye-bye.